So I don't know if you guys can hear the bass in the background. As you would know if you follow me on Instagram at RushCam, I am in Trinidad for Carnival. And yeah, it was the night before Carnival Monday when all through the house the place was booming, beer nice, beer nice, beer nice. So I promised myself that I would do this live, like close to the time as I do the others. And I'm a little hoarse, but this is Unfiltered Voice Notes, and that's what it's all about. So, I kind of want to talk to you guys about something that happened to me when I landed here in Trinidad, and it was really interesting, and it was definitely an opportunity to grow for me, and I thought I would share it with you. So, what happened was that for context, last year I was supposed to come to Trinidad Carnival, right? And I didn't because I was just feeling extremely, or in my mind, I thought I was feeling extremely anxious. And I was like, I can't manage, me and able, and not coming. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my contract was pushed to the following year, and now we're here, and I'm fulfilling that contract. So what was really interesting for me is that every time I'm supposed to be traveling, if it's personal, I'm fine. Like, I'm good. I'm great. Like, I can't wait. My outfit, them plan, whatever. You see, if it is business, I don't want to go. Avex, anxious, can't bother, sad, all of those things. So I get to Trinidad and I hit the ground running, right? I shot a podcast episode. I had to pick up my costume. I had to do content, yada yada yada, going. Yeah. And I mean, I thought I was fine, but then when I got back to the apartment, like there was just a dark cloud over my head, and I was just like, why do I feel like this? This is just the worst feeling ever. So I called my mother and I called some friends and we're talking through it. And I say, you know what? Let me call my former therapist, now life coach. So I called her and she was sharing with me that like I am going through this dissonance, and I will just you guys can Google it and break it down a little bit more. But basically, what she was saying is that I am here for work primarily, right? And it is my job to look like I'm having a good time. But sometimes my brain has this moment of like feeling confused or feeling like disconnected from the fact that I'm not having a good time all the time. So like it's like I'm there and I'm like, am I having a good time? Is this really a good time? This, that, because my mind has not landed on the fact that I am actually there for work. And so there's just this toss up in terms of my mind where I'm just like, okay, um, I have to get content. I have to be doing these things. I have to post. I have to this. I have to that. I have to this. I have to that. And there's that frustration that comes because at the same time, I'm measuring my happiness and whether or not I'm having a good time on the meter that I would if I was just there to have a good time. And it don't make sense because when I'm hosting an event or I am like doing a podcast episode or I am doing content for a brand or whatever else it is, I don't sit there and say, am I having the best time ever? I'm like, no, am I getting what I'm supposed to get done? Am I achieving this? Like, those are the questions I ask myself. So she spoke with me and we talked it through. And we just landed on the idea of like during break time, I have to be super conscious and aware of like what I'm doing to refuel. But also, I had to change the mindset of this entire trip and tell myself that I was here for work. And what a lot of people don't understand in the job that we have or that I have is that what I do, what ordinary, regular, day to day folks do for fun is sometimes what I have to do and package for work. So, sometimes there are things that like I look at and I'm just like, wow, everybody else is here to have a good time. And I'm here to package the good time and make it look fun. So, I was just going through that thought, and Trinidad Carnival is really overwhelming if you're not like a pro and if you don't have everything organized. And this isn't my first time, but this time was different for me for some reason. Do you hear the bass? Come on. Yeah, this time was different for me for some reason because, like, as I'm getting older, I've had to, and I'm more aware of all the things that happen in life. You hear my voice, I get hoarse, my soul have to shut up. Like, I have to, this has to be a very short episode. But yeah, like, I'm learning that, you know, with the information we have to make new decisions for ourselves. And so, like, I ponder on whether or not I want to do certain kinds of content or like do lifestyle in the way that I've had to do it in the last 2 to 3 years. Um, and if I need to lean into more opportunities that I can easily distinguish as work, or do I need to just go into it and say, okay, I work my day, end of story. So like that was that. But the following morning, when I woke up and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to work. Okay, I have to get this content. This is what I'm wearing. Blah 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 blah. Ratata ta 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 ta. Like I actually felt significantly better, and I have been feeling much better. And like even doing this with my friend Chantel, who by the way is the guest for Wednesday. But like even doing carnival with her and like both of us having to do the same deliverables and whatever, we're just like, okay, we're doing it, we're doing it, we're doing it. And that's kind of the vibe. So that's like an interesting perspective. But like, what is the takeaway for you guys, right? I want you guys to understand that sometimes you will not have the tools to be able to navigate the things that you're going through, and it is perfectly fine to sit through it and like punch through the air and say, okay, I'm gonna get there. But it's also okay to like call a friend, or if you know a professional that is able to assist you and give you that added perspective. It helps, because what I would have done in that moment is that I would have sat here and kind of just allow my mind to take over. And the mind is such a powerful tool, because the same way in which I was able to get out of that like feeling in the next day is like similarly I would be able to like go into that depth of like a sad low feeling. And it was nice for it to be acknowledged by my life coach, for her to say, this is an isolating experience. This is something that a lot of people will not be able to get. This is something that is like, the reason why a lot of people who are in entertainment and whatever live like a sad, tragic life, even though they are, in fact, successful. So, all right, my voice, I go. So, yeah, it's just like I want you guys to understand that sometimes you really do need to phone a friend, like in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And sometimes you really do need to phone it in and say, I don't have the tools. I'm going to try and make this work with the help of somebody else. So that's kind of what I landed on. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about Trinidad Carnival when I come back. And, even like the toss up between that and Christianity and culture and Christianity, even because that Trinidad Carnival in particular, Trinidad, I would say Grenada, crop over in Barbados, and yeah, those three primarily have heavy cultural backgrounds and are tied to different things that are the remnants of our ancestors. And part of that dilemma or toss up is what it has become, what it represents, what it means to me as an individual, and then what that means for my faith. And if I embrace something like this, does this mean that I'm denouncing my faith? And is there a way that the two can exist? Or is it that you're being a lukewarm Christian? And is it, like a lot of times, because this is work for me ultimately, right? And a lot of times people, it's an interesting thing, because like a criminal lawyer can be a criminal lawyer and like Christians be like, yeah, but it's just his job. But if my job is to, for example, dance for Michelle Montano, it's like this, ooh, wow, you've really forsaken. So I want to talk a little bit about that when I come back and I have clearer thoughts on it. Um, but spoiler alert, this is definitely my last Trinidad Carnival. Like, at least as an influencer, this is my last year that I'll be doing it. Um, and if I do it next year or any year after, I'm gonna be doing it like according to my rules and with a very specific point of view. But I'm definitely not working next year for sure. Like 150%. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Trinidad Carnival, and I would love to know what you guys think down below. I think that the bass is gone, but I mean, if you're listening to this, you can definitely say, I hear the bass. That's so funny. I have a dilemma, or am I the asshole, that I got via email, and this one is it's really important for me to answer it because I'm just so shocked that, somebody's in a situation like this and thinks that, I am somebody that they could reach out to for help. And I hope that they're listening to this. So it says, hi Rush, am I the asshole? I'm a 17-year-old female. So she is not an adult legally. So okay, I used to do music, but I stopped. By the way, I'm paraphrasing this because there are no punctuations and the English isn't the greatest. So it is not going to come exactly as I have it written here. So if it sounds kind of like me, it's because I'm rephrasing. So I used to do music, but I stopped. The manager that I used to have took me from my community and put me and my mother in another community, and he was paying rent. I stopped doing music because my manager wanted to have control over me and my life. He doesn't want me to talk to any males at all. Once he told me that I was too young for boys, and now we fast forwarded, and I'm going to studio, um, and he wanted to have sex with me, and I said no. And now he's behaving all defensive and furious, and so I stopped going, and he stopped paying rent. I didn't want to tell my mom because she would argue, but um, she told me that if other females had the opportunity, they would take it, and now we are kind of in a struggle because he stopped paying the rent. Am I the asshole? What a terrible situation to be in. And, it's multi layered, right? Because in one scenario, you have to be dealing with the fact that, you have a music career that you want to take off, right? That's layer number one. Layer number two is that there is a power struggle because this man is not only older than you, he's also in a position of power and you are the talent. Then, no, the third layer is that he is like putting you in like a better position, like in terms of safety and security and housing and comfort. Then now the other layer is that your mother is also on the receiving end of all of that. And then the last layer is the fact that she doesn't have the capacity to understand that you need her support. What I would say is that, at least for right now, it would be best for you to speak to somebody that is older that you trust. Um, like, it doesn't have to be a relative, but speak to somebody older that you trust. And also see if there is some way in which you can sever ties with that manager um, in like a really professional way and have no contact with him going forward. I would also say that since your mom is not really in a position to fully support you in the way that you would need, like as a guardian, I would suggest that you continue to go to school or do some courses or something and wait until you're at least 18 or 19 and in a position to support yourself and make decisions on your own because you are an adult at that point. And I don't know if you're in a position financially to be able to afford anything, which I gather no. So I also think that it would be in your best interest to get a job. Like in the meantime, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be at a pharmacy, it can be at a supermarket packing bags, it can be anything. But right now, you need at least some disposable income to be able to make something for yourself. So that is kind of my advice. And if you hear this and you need any more advice, you can give me a message or send me a follow up email. But I really do hope it works out for you. And I am praying for you. And I hope that everybody else can whisper a prayer for you. So yeah, this is my unfiltered voice note for today. I am excited about Carnival Monday and Tuesday. It actually is so much more fun than people could even fathom. And it is so. There's something really special about the way that they do it in Trinidad, I must say. People think it's hedonistic and weird and grimy and all of those things. I promise it's not. I think a lot of Americans and African Americans, come to stuff like this and sort of over sexualize it and make it weird, but it's not like that. Well, at least through my experience. And as I said, you could really curate the experience that you want. You could do pan, you could do like all these cultural events, go on the road with like a lost tribe that is more cultural, like all of those things. Even the band that I'm with, and I'm an ambassador for Spirit, everything that they do is grounded and rooted in culture and trying to bring back culture to Carnival. And so, yeah, I'm excited and I will talk to you guys soon. I hope my voice doesn't go. And I have a really exciting episode for you guys on Wednesday. It is sponsored. So if you end up watching it, I'm just asking that you repost it to your stories, tagging the brand, commenting down below to the brand, just giving it a whole heap of love. I love you guys so much. Thank you for always riding with me. And yeah, have a good one. I'm out. Bye, guys.